Okay, so recently I found this game on the Play Store called Edge of Infinity. Now this game is developed by this company called Quiver Games. They're a Nigerian game company, and this game feels more like, your Call of Duty, PUBG, that type of game style and stuff. Like, that's how that game primarily is. Now, this video is not a review video at all, but I will make a mini review video very soon. It will be in the description when it's ready. It might not be ready now when you're watching this video, but if now that you do see this video and it's there, please go watch it. Now, my reason for even making this video in the first place, because I genuinely want this game to succeed. I really see a lot of potential in this game and stuff, and that's why I am making this, because if they succeed based on my advice or something, I don't know, I don't care, but I will be very happy and proud. Now, since the game has that style of Call of Duty, PUBG, and all those shooting games, do I believe that this game is going to be the next Call of Duty or whatnot? Hell no. And here's why. It's not that I'm trying to bring them down or anything, but let's be realistic. Games like Call of Duty have been in existence for years. They have grown a huge player base from around the world. And, their name already holds weight and everything. And at the same time, these companies like, PUBG, Call of Duty, and the likes, they put millions or even billions of dollars into their game. They pump out that type of money into their game, and they make a lot as returns and everything. Quiver Games or Edge of Infinity, they do not have that type of capacity that these companies have. So that's why I can never see them as like the next Call of Duty or whatnot. But this doesn't mean that I look down on this game as a whole, but rather that they can be its own thing. Which is why if I was to advise them on things that they could do just to make this game different and try to get a player base and how they could promote the game and whatnot, this is exactly what I would do. The first thing that I honestly would do is quite simple. I would tell them this. They have no business going to bigger brands, bigger content creators, and so on at this stage right now. They have absolutely no business. It's a waste of their time and resources. They should stay away from all those bigger people overall. If they know that they want their game to grow right now, they should stay away from the bigger people for now. And let me just explain further. Instead, what they should be thinking about right now at this stage is how they can get funding, so that way they can not only fix their game, because, if you should see my review, just know that I wouldn't advise you to download this game right now, but maybe when they do updates or whatnot, when things are working, then you can download it and stuff. But right now, they should actually invest in having a functional game. At the same time, from any money that they can get, they should also invest it when it comes to their social media, their marketing overall, and for other aspects as well. One thing that they can do is to have all those smaller game events, not something that's too big, but I'll just say this, like when it comes to game events, they should just leave it until their player base increases more. But however, when it comes to their social media, that is the one thing that they must concentrate on, in my opinion, if they want to get more people to be interested in their game overall. Now, they can try different content pillars when it comes to their social media. Like, for example, they could do all these street interviews where they meet different people. They'll be like, hey, have you played Edge of Infinity before? They'll be like, no, okay, come and play. And then they record the gameplay of this person. They see the game. They'll be like, what do you think? And they'll be like, oh my God, he's good at everything. They should go to malls, streets, and so on and get different people to play the game. Like, just go to different locations. Like, maybe you can go to a market when it's all crowded and stuff and then make a video about it. Like, not about way. Like, it's going to be fun and interesting. Like, you can just get people to be, having rest of the look at, like you go, like when you see all the street interviews and stuff, that is what they should be doing and everything. Other content pillars also show us, like, maybe they get gamers to play the game and everything. And this is where I'll talk about the small creators, like later on, like, because I would prefer that they use small creators rather than big creators and stuff. In fact, these people must not even be content creators to begin with. They can just get people who are just gamers, whether or not they're content creators, and be like, okay, make a video about how they feel about the game and whatnot. And then at the same time, another pillar they should do is to post gameplay footage of their game. just be posting it, like, and you maybe you put some good caption and everything, like you polish the gameplay footage, or maybe what you can do is that you can get like the 3D characters or something, and then maybe make them like do a series when they'll be doing rubbish or whatnot. Maybe they can even be dancing to memes or something, like in a funny, cool type of way. Maybe if a TikTok meme should go viral or something in Nigeria, then what they can do is that they can get their 3D model to practically do the same thing in a funny and cool type of way. Do you get what I mean? And that thing can get their game more attention overall. As long as they're consistent and they have good and polished content, then they're good to go. You do not need to necessarily copy the likes of your Call of Duty, PUBG, and the likes. Don't copy their pages and everything. Like, maybe you can copy some things, but not everything. You need to be as original and as unique as possible, because that is the best way to captivate your audience. Okay, so let's go back to this big creator, small creator thing I talked about earlier. As I told them earlier, they do not have any business going to any big content creator at all if they know they want their game to succeed. And let me explain why I do not want it to go to any big creators. Now, this is not hate to any big creator at all. I love and respect you guys and everything. But the one thing I'll tell them why they should not even concentrate on big creators, because big creators genuinely do not care. It is very difficult, especially in Nigeria, to find a big creator who will genuinely care about that product. A big creator only cares about the money, and so they don't care about actually pushing that product out and everything. Because a big creator will talk about that game once and then boom, there's nothing else about the game. Let's assume that you wanted to target gamers and you wanted to go to a big gaming content creator and everything, and you pay them money and stuff. They don't talk about that game once. They'll not put that game on top of their head and everything. They'll not be playing the game. They'll not be telling people about the game and stuff. After they just talk about the game once, they'll go back to their Call of Duty and PUBG. Those brands will not even pay them to talk about the game and stuff. But you see, they're giving those brands free advertising while you paid them once. Nothing will happen. At the end of the day, your player base will not really even increase and stuff. Nobody will care, and that video will just get drowned out. Nobody will go back to that person's video and check. Do you get what I mean? That is why it is a bad idea to go to any big creator, because no big creator cares. And the only time that you should even be looking at any big creator is if, number one, your game is very popular. This is when your game has, a lot of player base and clout and everything. Then you can go to a big creator. Or if you find a big creator who genuinely cares about this product, they're willing to always push the product out and everything, they're willing to put your product on top of their head and stuff, then that is when you can work with one. But that's why I'm telling you, don't even just work with a big creator at this point in time. And finally, for big creators are expensive. Let's be real. Like, they're expensive. Like, maybe some of them may charge maybe 1 million plus just for one video and everything. And if that video does not get you the results you want, then you've seen that you've wasted money, and nobody likes wasting money, especially in this economy. Which is why instead you should be looking at the small creators, and here's why. Now, as I said, big creators are expensive, but however, smaller creators are cheaper. A smaller creator is not going to charge the same amount as a big creator for a video. Let's be real. It is better for you to basically pay 10 small creators than pay 10 big creators, because you're going to save a lot of money. And with a small creator, they will take that thing seriously, because obviously small creators, they're not as appreciated as the big creators and stuff. And if they see that a brand is actually willing to work with them and everything, they will put that thing on top of their head and everything, and they'll always talk about your game. Plus, a lot of small creators, they have a lot of engagement and trust and stuff, which would actually help you to get more users in a cool and organic way. But let me just tell you the main reason why you should work with the small creators. Now, let's assume that maybe you worked with like 20 small creators and everything, and maybe 5 of them blow up. Like, maybe 5 of them will blow up over time and everything. 5 of these people are always going to go back and reference your game. Like, when people want to hear their story, hear things about how they were and everything in the past, blah, 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 they're always going to bring up your game, whether or not you pay them. They'll be like, oh, everybody rejected me. Nobody took me seriously, blah, blah, when I was small. But this particular game, this Quiver games, they took me seriously. When something like this happens, it will amplify your brand, and more people would want to play the game just because that small creator talked about it. And that is when that game will even get more and more popularity. In fact, if you work with small creators and they start blowing up more and more and more, That is where you can give these people more perks and do collaboration and everything. Like, let's assume that you see that there's a small creator, this person is going to become a very big creator, and then they're blowing up out of proportion. Do another collaboration with them when they are blowing up like a lot. Keep doing one, keep on pushing them and everything to do that type of collaboration and stuff. And then from there, you're going to see how that game is going to become more and more popular because of one or two or three creators. You get what I mean? Then from there, when that game becomes big and everything, and people know that game because of that creator and everything, from there, you can now say, okay, let's work with big creators because now your game already has the clout. Now let's talk about their game itself and things that they can do to basically make the game to be more relatable to Nigerians and stuff. One thing that you guys should do when it comes to your game Edge of Infinity is to do this thing where now that, okay, you make stages based on things that Nigerians experience. Like, for example, you can make like a stage that has to do with the main market, maybe Balongu market or something like that. You can make like a stage that is inspired by that market in Nigeria, something that's similar like to it. Do you get what I mean? Where now that you can look for people, you shoot them and everything. Like, if you do something like that that's relatable, people are going to resonate with it in Nigeria, and from there you get downloads because you've made something unique. And this is your selling point, because other games like Call of Duty, PUBG and so on, they do not have any of those types of stages. So if you make stages that are relatable to Nigerians, you are going to get a lot of people into this game. You can even do something like seasons in Nigeria. Like, for example, we have Harmattan season. You can make like a stage that is dedicated to Harmattan, or maybe during Christmas, exactly. Like during Christmas, now everybody always goes to their village and whatnot. You can make a stage that has to be like somebody's village in Nigeria. I'm telling you, you are going to resonate with a lot. People are going to relate to it so well. You could even make ones like, it takes place on the roadside, maybe where somebody is doing suya, somebody is selling clothes, somebody is selling that. Like, it's just gonna be a relatable thing. Like, if you make stages that have to do with Nigeria itself. This will also be a good way to also work with brands as well. Like, for example, there was this game that I was playing. It was like a driving game and stuff. So basically, when you drive in the game, you have all these posters that have like ads of different companies and all type of stuff. You guys could do something similar. Where not that once your game has a steady player base, brands which will be like, hey, they want to promote blah blah blah. You pay them how much money and everything, and from there, their poster gets plastered in the game, like in game and everything. Where if somebody is moving and everything, they can see the poster of that brand or whatnot, and it can help that brand to gain more visibility in that type of way. Do you get what I mean? But you could even do something even more unique, like when it comes to your brand collaborations and stuff. Now, I'll tell you at this stage, if you can, try and work with these smaller brands. Like, for example, there are smaller microfinance banks, smaller food delivery apps, bill payment apps that are small and whatnot. Work with those sets of people when it comes to promoting like your game and everything. Like, let me use an example. Let's assume that you want to work with like a microfinance bank, something that's smaller in size compared to the bigger ones. You could do this thing where that, for example, okay, I can say, or like you can do like that ad spacing where you put like a signboard in game and whatnot and everything. You could do type of thing where that people can shoot these signboards and everything, and then maybe the more you shoot them at random, you might be able to win money from that bank or whatnot. Do you get what I mean? Like, you could do something like a raffle draw where it would be like, okay, whoever can shoot something like that will win money. And it's going to be something good because you're exposing more people to this bank, and at the same time, these people can become potential customers of the bank and everything. And then from there, the bank gets more people, you help them, like, it's like a win-win type of thing. But to better amplify that type of collaboration, you could do something where that you could create dedicated levels for like any brand you collaborate with. Like, if it's a serious collaboration, like for example, I said, let's use a smaller microfinance bank as an example. As I said, you can make like a level where now that it has to be in a bank, like a small microfinance bank. Like, maybe it will be like a fake bank, like maybe one that's big and everything, but it has that microfinance bank plus, or they will be like, okay, that somebody tried to rob the bank, stop this person, and then that person can shoot. Do you get what I mean? Like, in that type of cool way, it's going to resonate with people so much that you're going to blow that bank up. And I'm just telling you, when you do this type of thing, you are going to get a lot of Nigerian gamers to be more interested. Now, remember, as I said earlier, this game is obviously not going to be the next Call of Duty or whatnot. That's not what they should be thinking about, but rather how they can be different, how they can have their own type of advantage. Because if this game eventually blows up and stuff, maybe other countries from around the world will want to invest in the game and even to do ads and everything. And then from there, your game becomes more and more global in that type of way. Sure, it might not have the same impact as Call of Duty and whatnot, but still, it is going to still be its own thing. So yeah, that is just my advice for them if they see this video or whatnot. I hope that they actually do become successful because they deserve it, personally speaking. I hope that this game can just become way better than it is and all that stuff. So yeah, that is all for today's video. If you want to see more from this series, please comment below, and as always, I hope I see you guys next time.